Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Alex, the Maverick Colazzo. On the show today, we got actor Matt Page. We all know him from the popular YouTube hit Enter the Dojo, where he plays the great and amazingly awesome, nigh unbeatable Master Ken. Stick around, folks. And remember, you have just entered the Mavericks Dojo. You're dirty, sweet, and you're my girl. All right. Well, first, I wanted to compliment you on your privates episode. I think that's really hilarious of them. I just like the whole concept of it. You know what I mean? They're like really funny
Yeah,
how tos.
having some guests on. I'm trying to think of when that occurred to us. I think that occurred to us before we started doing season 3, and it was just because we knew some people who had asked if they could be on the show, and I didn't know how to write them into like full length episodes. And we only film the seasons of the show once a year. When as far as like all the characters and the storyline of Enter the Dojo, because it's really hard to get everybody in the same place now. When we started the show, everybody lived in Albuquerque and it was easy. But now everyone involved with the show lives all over and they're working on different projects. So I was trying to think of how to get people who asked to be on the show in an episode. And so it was like, yeah, okay, so we'll do a thing where we'll call it Master Ken's Privates, and he's given private lessons, and we'll just bring in experts who are really good at what they do and tell them they're doing everything wrong. And the first one we did was Victor Marks, the fastest gun disarm, and he actually flew out just to be on the show, and he was so great, and we got a great response from it, so we just started doing those. We're hoping to do a bunch more of those this year, because those are really, really fun.
Yeah, I really like the one with Sensei Vasquez where you did the gas chamber.
Yeah, and that one, oh gosh, he was so patient, and because we had that, we shot that like 8 months before we released it, because we filmed it, and then I got busy with other stuff, and we do that a lot. We film a lot more stuff than we actually release. We film a ton of stuff that we never release. And then he messaged me, and he was like, "Hey, is that ever going to come out?" And I was like, "Oh, right, shoot, I forgot we shot that. That was good." So then we released it. Yeah, people have enjoyed it quite a bit, and he was really fun. He was really fun to work with, as is pretty much everybody that comes on the show. Pretty much everybody comes in and is just looking to have fun and laugh and make fun of themselves, and you know, and that's the irony of it, is the people who come in are really great martial artists and really good at what they do and really tough and you know, can totally kick ass, but they're willing to make fun of themselves in front of Master Ken.
That's really awesome. You currently hold 2 black belts, right?
Yeah. I got my first one when I was, I think I was 18, and that was in Okinawan Kempo, studying under a gentleman named Rich Pelletier, who passed away a few years ago, but was one of the best instructors I ever had. My first instructor, very traditional system, Okinawan Kempo and Kabuto, very much like Shorin-ryu or Shotokan, a lot of similarities with those. And that was my base in the martial arts. And then years later, I moved to Santa Fe to go to College of Santa Fe to get my film degree. And I saw a sign for a Jeff Speakman school, and I was always a huge fan of The Perfect Weapon.
Who isn't?
Yeah, that movie, like when I was a kid, that was like one of my favorite martial arts films, and I was like, whoa, I could totally learn how to do that, like that really fast hand stuff that I saw in the movie. And so I went in and took an introductory lesson with a gentleman named Tony Potter, and I was totally into it. And for like I want to say about 3 years, I went to class like twice a day, like a noon class and a night class, like 4 or 5 days a week. I was just like obsessed with American Kempo and learning everything I could about it, and ended up getting my black belt in that system a few years ago.
That's awesome. What was your inspiration for Enter the Dojo and Master Ken? Like, where did that come from, that idea originate?
You know, I had wanted to do, because I've been into acting and filmmaking since I was, you know, a teenager, and also simultaneously being in martial arts, I had always wanted to do a story that involved martial arts. In fact, I had written some stuff years before that we did Enter the Dojo that was much more serious. It was a bit more of like a drama. world of martial arts, and it never sort of came together. I thought about making a film in that way, and it just never really came together. But people started making web series, and I didn't even know really what a web series was. So I worked on a few of them here in Albuquerque because there's a very vibrant film community in New Mexico, and I worked on a few of them. And I thought, well, this is kind of fun, to make a little episodic thing and put it online for people to see. But I couldn't figure out what to do it on. And then I discovered The Office, the Ricky Gervais BBC show, The Office. And I had always been a big fan of mockumentary stuff like This is Spinal Tap and all that stuff. But when I saw The Office, I was like, okay, I want to do this. I want to do something just like this, but not in an office. And that was the idea. I was like, well, I feel like one of the only things I really know a lot about, because I've been in that world for so long, is martial arts. So I thought, well, we'll make a comedy. We'll make a kind of goofy mockumentary, behind the scenes kind of version of this. One of my other references had been the movie The Foot Fist Way, which I was so excited about when I saw the trailer, but then when I went to go see the film, I thought it was really dark. It was really, really dark, and I totally appreciated that some people liked it, but I was like, gosh, I was hoping for something a little more lighthearted and slapsticky. So I said, well, I'll do what I wish The Foot Fist Way had been, which was something a little bit lighter and a little bit, maybe goofier. And I wrote a few episodes and showed them to some friends, and I said, is this funny at all? And they said, yeah, this is great. And we even shot a test of me as Master Ken. I put on a fake mustache, and at that time I wasn't really doing a different voice, and I was wearing a black Kempo uniform, and I did like a screen test kind of a thing, and sent it around to some friends, and because I wasn't sure yet, and they were like, no, this is funny, you should do it. So that was kind of the idea. I kind of, and it just was I just kind of drew on experiences I had had at real dojos. Like the groin sparring is a real story that, I went to a dojo in Southern California that taught people that the only target that mattered was the groin. So that was the only way you could get points in sparring, was to grab each other's groins. And that's not a made up. It's a real thing.
So it's kind of poking fun at like the McDojo, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was that kind of thing, and that was really shocking to me, because of course my first dojo was very, very traditional, and we used Japanese terms for everything, and it was very quiet and very respectful and everything. And then I went into these other dojos where these guys had sort of just made up their own martial arts and given it a name, and I don't know, just done all this wild stuff that I was like, oh wow, okay, this exists. And so I decided to do a parody of that. And the great thing was that, pretty much as soon as we started releasing it online, martial artists latched onto it, because everybody that has studied martial arts, if you've studied it for a few years, everybody has a Master Ken kind of story where they're like, oh my God, I've trained with that guy. Yeah. I've trained with that type of guy. And so, people related to it, and it just kind of took off from there.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Are you the one that always comes up with all the funny lines? Do you have anybody helping you with the writing, or is it all you?
Oh, well, so the way it's always worked is that I generally, for the first 2 seasons, I wrote every episode. And then Adam Rotler, who directs a lot of the episodes, he wrote about half of season 3. But the way it generally works is that we write the script as a template. I have all the things, I have the structure of the show, of the episode, and I have certain lines that I definitely want to hear because I think they're funny. But then we get the actors to start contributing, and the actors definitely make a lot of the scenes work by improvising. So we have what's on paper, and then once we get shooting, it starts to become about a 50-50 split, where about half of what we shoot is what was written, and about half of what we shoot is just funny stuff we come up with on the day. There have also been episodes that have been 100% improvised. Some of those work, some of those don't. We've had varying success with just sort of having an idea for an episode, and we're like, yeah, we'll just make it up and be funny. It helps to have a script, we're finding. So we do try to at least have a baseline, and usually it's so that we can pick a topic. Like I'll say, okay, here's a technique. We're going to do this fictional technique called the thrust of freedom. We're going to pretend that that's a real thing and that Ken is teaching it. And so then that provides the structure. But then the other actors tend to add a lot more, especially in the interviews, the little testimonials that we do. The actors come up with a lot of really, really great stuff. And in fact, Billy, who is played by an actor named Ben Ziegler, he's the guy that kills me the most because his improvised lines are so wild and so out of left field. And it's hard for me not to laugh when I'm doing scenes with him or interviewing, or when Adam is interviewing him, because he's so funny.
Wow.
When you're feeling